please don't brew potions this way. And here's why you should surprisingly use Silk Touch instead of a Fortune Pickaxe. And these are 47 Minecraft things you might be doing wrong. Like, don't ever spawn a Wither in the overworld or the Nether, as by taking a trip to the end and building a sideways Wither statue underneath that bedrock fountain, like so, the Wither will get stuck inside of it and start to suffocate while also blasting himself with explosions. And eventually, easiest Nether star of my life! Almost as easy as not smelting with coal. Because since 1.18, you can now get infinite fuel by placing some lava above pointed dripstone. Throw a cauldron below to give yourself an unlimited lava source. And then you can just keep using that lava in your furnaces forever, each smelting a total of 100 items. But you could also pair it with lava-filled barrels and hoppers to get yourself some automatic smelting. And it's best to ignore any red mushrooms you see, because unlike these losers, the far better brown mushrooms can be fed different flowers to get suspicious stew with any variety of status effects. I love getting a hearty regeneration meal at the click of a cow. And to get a brown mushroom, all you gotta do is strike a red one with lightning. Unleash the power! Oh, that reminds me. Do not build a farm like this, as thanks to Minecraft's secret crop rules, growing the same crops next to each other actually slows down their growth speed. So I guess players should instead seek to plant their crops in alternating rows like this for faster growth. Seems ridiculous until you harvest one crop and get 7 potatoes. Though this crazy large harvest isn't from our farm, but rather from this shovel. You see, the Fortune 3 enchantment can be used for more than just diamonds, and has the ability to significantly increase your crop returns. Even berries, melons, and apples. Just don't rename those fortune tools in an anvil. At least not after they're enchanted. The reason is, it'll cost a lot more experience. And once you hit that terrifying too expensive message, it'd be cheaper to just make and name a new tool altogether. So try to name stuff before enchanting. If not, you're doing yourself a disservice. Same as any player that cooks in a furnace, because there's a better way. And I'm not talking about blast furnaces or smokers, but campfires. Yep. Not only do campfires cook food faster than a furnace, roasting 4 food items for every 3 the furnace does, but it costs absolutely 0 fuel to cook, which is especially great for the early game when resources are limited. Although, if you tend to prioritize speed over fuel management, it does still get beat out by the smoker. Though, if you use a smoker, you might be wasting coal, as thanks to some good old compression crafting, when we combine 9 coal pieces into 1 block, it will instead smelt with the power of 10 pieces when burned, which is especially great for those big smelting jobs. Though, once you have all those stone bricks for your base, don't you dare craft them into stairs! Ned, you use a stone cutter like a civilized player!
No!
Fine, but little does he know, he's just wasting his materials. With a stone cutter, you can craft 1 stair from every block you have, instead of only 4 stairs from 6 blocks when you craft it. For a whole stack of stone, that's 64 stairs compared to Ned's 40. And don't sleep on slabs either. When laying floors for builds, using slabs can really help you make the most of limited resources, as this is how much ground 6 blocks can cover. But turn them into slabs and double the amount of space. Now, Ned, how is your build coming up? Oh. Don't cry, Ned. Did you know that the creative pick block button works in survival mode too?
What?
It's true. As long as you have that block somewhere in your inventory, you can automatically equip it by clicking your middle mouse button on the block you're looking at.
Why are you telling me this?
I don't know. But I do know that players shouldn't wear diamond boots. At least not all the time. Because unlike leather boots, diamond won't prevent you from freezing or let you walk across powdered snow without sinking. And don't ignore those gold boots either, as wearing those stops piglin hostility with the most minor loss of overall protection. Okay, bye, Carl. Oh, and do you build nether portals like this? While some may prefer the aesthetic, you really don't need those 4 corners to make a working portal. 10 blocks is all it takes. And those 4 leftover blocks could instead be spent on an enchanting table, which is a necessity, given how bad XP hoarding is. Aside from the fact that it's an incredibly dangerous world out there, and every new level you earn has the potential to be wiped out in a second by some overzealous skeleton. Huh? Aside from that, leveling up requires more and more experience the higher in level you are, meaning that once you've passed level 30, that XP is just going to waste, which is almost as wasteful as dyeing wool. Because instead of using that last dye on a wool block, players can instead get infinitely renewing colored wool by dyeing it right at the source. The only catch is sheep have to eat some grass to grow it back, but then again, they'd have to do that anyway. But hey, how'd you eat it all already? Yeah, all right. But here's why you should never switch game modes like this. Since update 1.16, players now have the option to quickly and painlessly swap between any of the 4 base modes by simply pressing F3 and F4. It's incredibly helpful for anyone who enjoys building maps or content creation. There you go, buddies. And now you never have to type out those tedious commands again. What? You're out of grass again? This stuff doesn't grow on trees, you know! And you know what? Trees are actually more useful than people think.
Thanks, Bonks!
You're welcome. See, most players either just throw their saplings away or plant them in random places. But you know what? Place them around in a square, throw down a little bone meal, and bam! Instant house! Shelter from all those horrible mobs of the night.
Oh, now I can spend every second with you, Bonks.
On second thought, horrible mobs of the night doesn't sound so bad.
Huh? What are you doing, Bonks?
Also, don't dry your wet sponges in a furnace, as the nether is apparently so hot that by just placing these blocks anywhere, any moisture is immediately evaporated. Same as a water bucket, which you shouldn't use in your next bubble elevator. Because you have to place water blocks at every level to get a proper bubble flow, players often find themselves with an inventory full of buckets. A lot of wasted iron, when you could instead get a little help from this kelp. Growing kelp like so will change all that falling water into source blocks for a working elevator, which I can ride right into my zombie-infested village. Never visit a village at night, because if you're near one and you don't sleep through the dark, you're risking a 10% chance to start a zombie siege, and you might just come back to find that all your best traders are either dead or zombified. At least the animals are safe, but they won't be if you use fence gates, because they always make a break for it when I try to come in. There has to be a better way! Well, there is a better way. Turns out, placing a carpet above a fence post still prevents mobs from escaping, while also providing an easy way in and out of the pen. And while it might look a little bit silly, I'll take this over escaped livestock any day. And don't bother going to collect chorus flowers for your overworld farms, because there's a much easier way to get them than building up and breaking it. You can just hit them with an arrow or any other projectile for the snack with none of the building, but all of the benefits. Oh, then, when attacking mobs, take advantage of the critical hit system. By jumping and hitting a mob as you fall, you'll deal bonus damage every time. Meaning with a diamond axe, you can take down a zombie in 2 hits instead of 3. You can save that durability for tree chopping. And with all this wood, I better not see anyone crafting any chests. Because why would you do that? When barrels give you the same amount of storage space, cost less wood to craft, can be opened under solid blocks, and help prevent low frame rates from all those chest entities. It stores fish just the same. Either way, don't fish here. The reason being, you're essentially doubling the amount of time it'll take you to catch anything if the water isn't in direct sunlight or moonlight. However, you can fish even smarter than just going outside. Instead of sleeping through that next rainstorm, take a trip out to the lake and cast your line. you'll find your fishing speeds increase by an extra 25%. Meaning, you can catch more of those uber rare mending books. Another option would be to trade for them, but that's expensive enough. Though, there is an easier way to lock down your desired trades. Instead of traveling from village to village or placing down a ton of job blocks, if a villager doesn't have the trades you want, just break their original job block and place it again. This will allow you to cycle through their available trades until you get the ones you want. Then, just trade with them once, and they'll offer those items for life. Also, you don't need to waste your time building any elaborate trading halls, because if players place down a honey block below their villagers, it'll prevent them from jumping, meaning you'll only need to surround them with one layer of blocks. They'll still be there to trade for life, but now they can see the light of day again.
I love the sun! Oh no!
Oh, and for all those pesky zombies, just make sure to layer honey around with a carpet on top. That'll stop them from jumping over those blocks too.
Huh, you zombies are so stupid!
Gotta say, they do make for some good zombie bait though. Plenty of XP. Though, if you're getting your XP from mobs, then you're just wasting precious experience. Because while the traditional mob grinder leaves all of those glowing orbs to just despawn, setting up a simple automatic cactus and bamboo farm like this ensures that no XP goes to waste, as the furnace will actually store the XP for you while you do other things. And a full furnace not only delivers 5.5 levels worth of experience, but you'll get a ton of green dye out of it too. But that's just on the smaller scale. Make it as big as you want to exponentially increase your returns. Just don't use dirt or sand to grow your bamboo, unless you prefer harvesting with potentially laggy minecarts and redstone instead of some good old-fashioned hoppers. See, mud blocks are considered 1 pixel shorter than most others, meaning that your freshly harvested items can be instantly collected by a hopper placed underneath, whereas with sand or dirt, they'd otherwise just sit there, like all of this ore, when I inevitably lose it to my greed. Ooh, just a few more diamonds. I can make this jump. We've all been here.
Oh, come on!
Come on! No! Not only losing our valuable materials, but our Fortune 3 pickaxe as well. That's why it's much safer to instead bring an easy-to-replace Silk Touch pickaxe on your expeditions. You can avoid the potential loss of that hard-earned fortune enchantment, while also being able to carry way more loot, considering each block has the potential for 2 to 4 ore when you break them with your fortune pickaxe in the safety of your home. Massive payday! Though nether gold ore should never be mined, even with Fortune 3. That's because, unlike other ores that give you the otherwise normally mined material when smelted, smelting a nether gold ore block will actually give you an entire gold ingot instead of a nugget, which is better than the roughly 8 gold nuggets you'll get on average from mining it with Fortune 3. Although, whether you use Silk Touch or Fortune, don't let any piglins catch you mining their favorite ore. Oh, time to go! And while we're at it, don't build with netherrack either. Look, I'm guilty of this myself. The stuff is everywhere and just keeps getting cluttered up in my inventory. But because it has some of the lowest durability of any block in the game, you're just asking for a ghast or creeper to destroy it in an instant. Whether it sends you to a fiery death or destroys your portal, just use cobblestone instead. I've paid the price. Learn from my mistakes. Or, at the very least, give yourself some good blast and fire protection. But don't over-enchant your gear, because while some players tend to max out their protection levels across each armor piece, these enchantments can only stack up to 10 levels. Meaning, instead of 4 level 4 books, you only need 2 and a level 2 book to get the same effect. So it's best to try saving those slots and experience for other enchantments. Maybe avoid enchanting anything with sharpness though. Even if that bonus damage to all mobs sounds appealing, in reality, it's only a measly 3 hearts worth of extra damage. While Smite only affects undead mobs, it can provide a damage increase of up to a whopping 12.5 hearts. And honestly, most hostile mobs are classified as undead anyway, so I'd cash in that extra damage when you can. Though, while preparing for battle, be careful when brewing potions of harming, because unlike most other potions, there are actually 2 different ways to create these ones. You could start by brewing a healing potion using a glistering melon, but why do that when for one simple spider eye, you could just brew a poison potion and turn that into a harming potion instead? It'll save you the melons and the gold. Just don't fill up your empty bottles with water from a cauldron, even if you like feeling like a witch. Cause you'll only ever get 3 bottles worth of water from it. Darn. And compared to a source block, which can be used to fill infinite bottles without needing a refill, it's a no-brainer, like farming sea pickles. Most players tend to overlook these cute little light sources, though they're more useful than they let on. Because for players who love color, instead of collecting cacti and bone meal to make lime dye, smelting these immediately results in the stuff. And if you bone meal one above a patch of coral blocks, you'll find that it can grow a large amount of sea pickles instantly, even getting 10 dye back for every 1 bone meal used. Pair this with the right shepherd villager, and you might even be swimming in emeralds. Though, if you'd rather be swimming in diamonds, then you'll want to stop searching for them at Y level 11. While that may have worked in past versions of the game, ever since update 1.18 and all the world generation changes it brought with it, your best bet to find these rare gems is now at Y level -58. These caves really have gotten deeper and darker. But just because it's darker, don't go using more torches to light it up. In fact, now it's the opposite, as along with the 1.18 update came changes to hostile mobs too. Instead of being able to spawn anywhere with a light level of 7 or less, these mobs can now only spawn in complete darkness, meaning it actually requires less torches now to keep those baddies at bay. I mean, TNT would work too, but just on mobs and not players. Because even if it has been the go-to for pranking friends since the earliest days of Minecraft, they take so long to detonate, and it's just too predictable. Yeesh.
Ha! Got ya! Wait, what?
Hey Carl, you know, you should really use TNT minecarts instead. They explode instantly. That, and they can be stacked for a much more powerful explosion. Though, you might want to TNT-proof your house after with some leaves, as it's actually better than obsidian. Aside from looking ugly as heck, it takes a lot of time to collect this much of the stuff. And when waterlogged, leaves are just as effective, easier to collect, and I would argue, better looking.
You think leaves will stop me?
He should have known better than to use an activator rail, but you might want to use those instead of redstone dust. While this red dust might seem more convenient, the particles it gives off can cause lag, especially if you're making some giant, crazy contraption. However, powered and activator rails can both transmit signals, same as redstone, without that same lag. And if your redstone stash is low, you can essentially turn 1 redstone dust into 6, as long as you have enough gold or iron to spare, which you would if you had an ender chest full of these. By filling an ender chest with shulker boxes, players can expand their on-demand inventory by up to 27 times. And if you take that a step further, you can even name and organize each box for different uses, like this one, filled with building materials, this one filled with food, and this one crammed with wooden tools. See, most players tend to throw away their wooden pickaxes as soon as they get stoned, but that's just rude. That pickaxe probably had dreams and ambitions. I do! Wait, does this pickaxe have a face? I wanna burn to ashes! See? The very least you could do is use it as fuel in your furnace to smelt an item. I wouldn't recommend ever burning a log though, because that is truly wasteful. While logs do burn 1.5 items worth, if you craft them into 4 planks, each plank will smelt 1 item's worth on their own, meaning you can nearly triple your smelting power for literally nothing.
Nothing!
So it's best to split those up, just like copper blocks, because while most players build before letting their copper oxidize, less oxidized blocks will actually slow down the oxidation of all other copper in a 4-block radius. Meaning, my completely accurate Statue of Liberty replica is gonna be this bronze color for a while. But why wait around? Check out this video that YouTube picked out just for you.